Hairspray Queen contains some of Kurt Cobain's most experimental vocals. Though on many of Nirvana's songs, Kurt pushes his voice to various extremes, one of the most unique examples of this is Hairspray Queen, where he's essentially straining his voice throughout much of the track. There are various interpretations about the lyrics of the song, which contains lines such as, "I was young, my, and you were mine, my enemy you were, your enemy you were, at night wishful goddess." Kurt himself hasn't publicly discussed what the exact meaning of the song is. Compounded by the fact that Kurt has also said on various occasions his lyrics don't often mean much to him, the exact meaning behind Hairspray Queen is still up for interpretation. More on that shortly. Hairspray Queen is one of Nirvana's earliest songs. As is the case with Mexican Seafood, there are 3 known recordings of Hairspray Queen, not accounting for any fan-made live recordings. These 3 recordings are as follows. The first being from May 6, 1987, when the band performed for Chaos Radio at the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington. The second being a recording the band did with Dale Crover in Aberdeen on January 3rd of 88, and the third being the one from the January 23rd session, 1988, at Reciprocal Recordings in Seattle with producer Jack Endino, again with Dale Crover on drums. The Jack Endino version of Hairspray Queen is the one that appears as the 12th track on Incesticide. For those who are curious, the May 6, 87 version features Aaron Burkhardt on drums. Incesticide was released on December 14, 1992 as a compilation record, 2.5 years after Nirvana's debut record Bleach was released on June 15, 1989. Interestingly, in terms of Bleach, Kurt Cobain would eventually tell his biographer Michael Azerrad that he regretted that Hairspray Queen was not included on Bleach. One of the interesting things about the history of Hairspray Queen is that the first time Nirvana ever performed the song live, a girl who heard it came up to Kurt after their performance and asked him if he had made up the lyrics on the spot about her, which he did not. It was an interesting moment for Kurt because this was one of the first experiences he had where he saw how his lyrics could be misinterpreted and thought to mean something they don't. In terms of things being mislabeled, some of the incorrect titles under which Hairspray Queen was bootlegged include Disco Goddess, Hairspray Queen, and Mr. Mustache. Now, it's been suggested by some that Hairspray Queen may have been inspired in part by Krist Novoselic's mother's hair salon in Aberdeen, Maria's Hair Design. In addition to being a salon, Maria's Hair Design also served as one of Nirvana's early practice locations. Well, sort of. The hair salon was located on the first floor of a 2-story building. The practice sessions took place in the apartment above the hair salon. A video of one of these rehearsals from December of 1988 was actually released in 2004 as part of the With the Lights Out box set. This video was recorded mostly by Robert Novoselic, Krist's brother. As a matter of fact, Robert Novoselic was once quoted as saying the following, quote, "We got some beer, watched my brother and partied. We really didn't think anything of it at the time because they were not that popular then. I do remember some kids walking by that night, stopping and standing there listening with an amazed look on their faces, like it was music they had never heard before. They really didn't know what to make of it, other than it was good. That was the night I thought there may be something really special happening with the band." End quote. The band consisted of their classic early lineup in this video, Kurt, Krist, and Chad Channing. 9 tracks were played by the band at this rehearsal, including Hairspray Queen. One of the notable things about this video is that Kurt Cobain is facing a wall as he's singing. The setlist for this session is hung at Kurt's eye level on the wall. During the concert, a strobe light was used and the lights for the room were flickered on and off in an interesting attempt to add some visual effects to the performance. One of the people present at this rehearsal, Ben Latin, a friend of the band, has stated that although this rehearsal is now iconic in a way, in Ben's view, there were in fact other Nirvana rehearsals that were much better than this one. He once specifically recalled one practice in particular which, quote, blew the socks off of this practice. Ben has stated that the practice he's referring to was actually videotaped as well, but as of yet, the video of that practice has yet to emerge. As mentioned, during the aforementioned videotape session from December of 88, the band performed 9 songs. Those songs were Love Buzz, Scoff, About a Girl, Big Long Now, Immigrant Song, a Zeppelin cover, Spank Through, Hairspray Queen, School, and Mr. Mustache. During my 2020 visit to Aberdeen, I visited the old Maria's Hair Design building and did a video about some of the history. Here it is. Hey guys, today I want to take a look at some of the locations where Nirvana would practice and jam throughout Aberdeen. Most of these places still exist today, even though one of them has been completely demolished. This patch of grass was the first house that Kurt had rented on his own. I'll be talking a little bit about that later on in the video. But for now, let's start off with this building over here. This pink building is the old location of Maria's Hair Design in Aberdeen, which was run by Krist Novoselic's mother, Maria. Krist Novoselic and Kurt Cobain both went to Aberdeen High School and became friends while attending Melvin's practices. Kurt wanted to start a band with Krist, but Krist wasn't initially on board. It wasn't until a few months after Kurt Cobain and Dale Crover's 1986 Fecal Demo Matter was recorded that Krist Novoselic reciprocated and told Kurt he wanted to start a band. An empty apartment above Maria's Hair Design was used as their rehearsal space. Now, before I go further, I want to mention that I did speak with two of the tenants living here, and they both said they were cool with me taking a few shots of the building, so thank you to them. As mentioned in my other videos, these Nirvana locations are all public domain info, but whenever possible, I think it's still good practice to ask before filming. The location of this building is on 107 South Main Street in Aberdeen, and if you look at Google Maps, you'll see that it actually used to be green, so who knows what color it may have been when Nirvana was here. But more importantly, there is a little confusion at times about exactly which part of the building the rehearsals took place in. As mentioned, the rehearsals took place in an apartment above Maria's Hair Design, but which apartment? Although this is a relatively small building, there are actually two separate apartments on the first floor, 107A and 107B. The same may be true for the top floor. I asked the two tenants if they knew where in the building Nirvana rehearsed, and they both said at the back, which would suggest that they practiced in the apartment above 107B. From the looks of it, however, it appears like it's just one apartment on the entire top floor, not two, but that's not entirely clear. It could be that the entire back half of the building is 107B and the entire front half is 107A, so this particular point does require further clarification, but regardless of exactly where on the top floor of this building the rehearsals took place, what we do know definitively is that they did take place somewhere on the top floor. Now, the location for the old Maria's Hair Design building is just off of the main street, which runs through downtown Aberdeen. The main street in Aberdeen is Wishkah Street. The old Maria's Hair Design building is located on South M Street, just to the right of Wishkah. I should mention, by the way, that if you are planning on visiting Aberdeen, make sure to note that Wishkah is a one-way street. Leaving my hotel, I almost turned the wrong way onto Wishkah straight into traffic before thankfully remembering it's a one-way, so just keep that in mind if you are planning on visiting. As mentioned a little earlier, Krist and Kurt became friends while attending Melvin's practices. Those practices predominantly took place at this house. This is Dale Crover's old house in Aberdeen. I won't be listing the address for this house in this video, but again, it's all public domain info listed in the Nirvana biographies. And speaking of biographies, it does say in some of the Nirvana biographies, as well as in the Aberdeen Museum of History website, that during one of Kurt's periods of homelessness, he slept in a cardboard box on Dale Crover's porch. Now, as you can see, there isn't really a porch here, it's just steps, so this may have been renovated since then, or it could have actually been these steps that they are referring to as a porch, or there might be a porch in the back that's not clear, but regardless, according to these bios and according to the actual Museum of History website for Aberdeen, it does say that he did sleep here, so that is definitely noteworthy. Interestingly, Dale Crover's old house is just a few minutes walking distance from the old Maria's Hair Design building. So, in other words, Nirvana's main practice space and the Melvins' main practice space were only a few minutes walking distance from each other. Another cool thing is that there actually is some video footage of Nirvana practicing at the Maria's Hair Design building back in 1988. Nirvana's lineup at the time of the recording consisting of Kurt Cobain, Krist Novoselic, and Chad Channing. Krist Novoselic's brother, Robert Novoselic, is actually the one who recorded the video, and it was released as part of the With the Lights Out box set. 4 of Nirvana's other friends were also present at the practice session: Ben Latin, Steve Newman, Senad Begovic, and Ryan Egner. Ryan having been an early manager for Nirvana, who was also responsible for arranging Nirvana's debut concert in Raymond, Washington. If you'd like to see the video I made about the history of that first ever Nirvana performance, the link is available in the description box below. The songs Nirvana performed at this practice session were Love Buzz, Scoff, About a Girl, Big Long Now, Immigrant Song, which is a Zeppelin cover of course, Spank Through, Hairspray Queen, School, and Mr. Mustache. Now, as discussed earlier, one of Kurt Cobain's former houses was completely torn down. The house address was 1000 East 2nd Street, just a few minutes walking distance from the famous Cobain house on East 1st Street. The East 2nd Street house, which again no longer exists, was the first house that Kurt Cobain rented on his own. It was a very small house, often compared to a shack, but nevertheless still a house. Kurt lived there in parts of 1986 and 1987, and it was a place where Nirvana used to jam. As a matter of fact, the recording of Miss Butterworth, which appears on the With the Lights Out box set, was recorded at this location. Furthermore, it was also a location where the Melvins practiced, so if you guys want to be able to stand on the spot where Kurt, Krist, and Aaron Burkhardt recorded Miss Butterworth, and one of the places where the Melvins used to practice, now's your chance because as of the time of this recording, in September of 2020, there's nothing there but grass. Perhaps the city or someone else may intend on putting something there at some point, but for now, it's just grass. A quick note on Miss Butterworth, by the way. The song was actually an untitled track. Kurt Cobain did not name the song Miss Butterworth. It's believed that Nirvana's management company came up with the title Miss Butterworth before including the song on the 2004 With the Lights Out box set. One other thing I want to show you guys is that 1 minute walking distance up the street from where this house used to be is a thrift shop. If that thrift shop was around at the time Kurt was living here, I can imagine it being a place Kurt would have enjoyed visiting.